Standing outside Adelaide Oval, in front of the statue of Sir Donald Bradman. Now, as a huge cricket lover, Sir Donald Bradman has long been one of my all-time heroes and inspiration. So, recently I was in Bowral, New South Wales, made a pilgrimage to see the Don, and I thought I'd also capture a few of the Don's locations when he lived here in Adelaide. Of course, the great irony is, though he was born and raised in New South Wales, he of course lived most of his life here in Adelaide. So I'll check out a few of the Don's, where his former home, etc. But before we do that, let's start off in Bowral. I'm standing outside of number 52 Shepherd Street, Bowral, the former childhood home of Sir Donald. Now, of course, ironically, the Don wasn't born here in Bowral. He was born in Cootamundra, and the family actually lived at a nearby settlement called Yo-Yo. But the Don's mother, Emily, came to Cootamundra to deliver the Don on August 27th, 1908. But they moved here in circa June 1911, when the Don was 2 years, 9 months old, with both his parents, George and Emily. There would later be, I think the reason they moved here was for Emily's health and stuff. Get closer to Sydney also. That's about 25 kilometres from Cootamundra. The Don, of course, would have 3 sisters and a brother, and it was right here in this backyard where the Don practiced with the tank stand, the Australian legend. We all grew up understanding the legend of the tank stand, with the Don hitting a golf ball against it with a wooden stump to hone his reaction time and his eye movement. It clearly worked. I think we've all tried to do that growing up as kids without any success whatsoever. The Don was also here in 1920 that the Don met his future wife Jessie Menzies. The Don was 11 at the time, Jessie was 10. Jessie lived at nearby Glen Quarry, about 12 kilometres from here. Her father, James, knew the Don's mother, Emily, since their school days. And it was decided that Jessie would board here so she could attend school, which was closer, obviously. And the day they met, when Jessie's Jessie's father dropped her off here for the first time, and the Don first met her, was the day the Don got cleaned up by a car. Now, I'm not sure exactly where it was. It might have been around here. The Don was riding home on his bicycle, and the local doctor ploughed into him. The Don had some cuts and scratches, but he was okay, obviously. And apparently when he first met Jessie, he was a bit bruised and battered. But of course, and then for the next 12 months, Jessie and the Don went to school together every day. And of course later they would be married and remain married the rest of their lives. What a great story. But that's when it happened here on 52 Shepherd Street. Let's go over for a bit of a closer look. There's a little sign on the door here, on the front gate, acknowledging that the Don lived here. See, 52 Shepherd Street. Don Bradman lived in this house from 1911 to 1924. How's that, eh? I think people still live here, so we won't impose too long. Just another angle of the house. That's looking down Holly Street. Another angle from the house and Shepherd Street. Let's have a little gander down here. Maybe we can look in the backyard, just have a quick peek. See the old tank stand. We're talking things that happened over 100 years ago, amazingly. Looks like a nice backyard. I might go stick in my camera if people live here. So yeah, so this is the Don's childhood home here in Bowral. Amazing piece of history. Now the Don actually moved away from here in 1924 to a second house, which is in nearby Glebe Street, which is not that far away. So that's where we'll go next, here at 52 Shepherd Street, Bowral. I'm standing in front of number 20 Glebe Street, Bowral, which is 450 metres from 52 Shepherd Street, the Don's original home in Bowral. But in 1924, when the Don was 15 or 16, he moved here in the house that his father George built, and the Don helped. The Don lived here until September 1928, when his real estate boss, Geoffrey Pearce, offered him accommodation in Sydney so he could play cricket. By then obviously he was playing first class cricket, and later that year, 1928, the Don of course was first selected to play for Australia in the 1928-29 Ashes series against England. But so he lived here for a relatively short time, but still a crucial period. And again we have some more signage indicating this. 20 Glebe Street. Bradman lived in this house from 1924 to 1928. Curator's Residence, Bradman Trust. Get a bit closer to read this one. The Bradman Trail. She explains that the Don assisted his father in building the house. There's much of the information I just told you. So, how good's that? And there's a bit more information there. What was that? Yeah, the Don started playing for Bowral in the 24-25 season seniors, because he's right across the road from the Oval, which in the Don's day, when he started here, was Glebe Oval. Obviously being on Glebe Street, but of course renamed in the honour of the Don. And we'll get over there and have a closer look in just a second. So this is 20 Glebe Street, residence of the Don from 1924 to 1928. Standing on the hallowed turf of Bradman Oval, looking at the pavilion. Now, up until 1947, this was Glebe Oval, obviously with Glebe Street and to that side of the Oval. But in 1947 it was renamed Bradman Oval in honour of the Don, who was almost retired from cricket at that point. Now this oval actually first opened in 1909 and it became a turf pitch in 1946. So the Don would have played on matting in his time. And the ground was also renovated again in 1972. Now, the Bradman Pavilion, which I assume is this, opened on October the 14th, 1989. And on October the 18th, 2001, both the ashes of Don and Jessie were scattered on the Oval and surrounding gardens, which was that would have been 8 months after the Don passed. Jessie passed away in September 1997. And as I said, the ground was renovated in 1972, and I guess it was closed down for 4 years, and it was reopened on September the 4th, 1976. And at the reopening of the ground, symbolically, the great leg spinner Bill O'Reilly bowled to the Don. That would have been great. Of course, they'd played each other on this ground at various times, or at least once. Let's have a look at. You can't go on the square, obviously. Always fascinating. I've played a fair bit of cricket in my time, not for a while now, but I never got to play on turf pitches. Only ever played on matting, and that's a bit disappointing. I never got to. I wasn't a batter, I was a medium pace swing bowler, but wouldn't matter where I batted on. But it would have been interesting to play on turf. See what kind of difference it made, whether it would have helped my bowling or not. As I said, it would have needed divine intervention to help my batting. It's beautiful ground, isn't it? See the hills, the mountains in the background. There's the old scoreboard. What history on this ground? Over 100 years old. This is a real cricket oval. This is what cricket oval should be, even at international level. Unfortunately, more and more cricket ovals have become near extinct. Sight screens. Cricket ovals have been replaced by cricket stadiums, which is a genuine shame. It's part of the allure of cricket watching and playing is playing on ovals like this. Truly majestic. Even the Adelaide Oval, once the most beautiful cricket ground in the world, has become virtually a stadium. And that's a real shame, but the Bradman Oval here still persists as a genuine cricket oval. Would have been so great to play on here. An honour too. Bit of a change of angle for Bradman Oval. Now looking back to the pavilion end. Of course it's just hard trying to conjure up the Don batting out here. Amazing. Well, he first played out here in the 1919-20 summer season when he was 11 for his school. He batted at 4 and he came out on a hat-trick, so 2 wickets had fallen consecutively. The Don proceeded to make 55 not out. So I guess when you've got it, you've got it. I think in his first cricket season in the Berrima district, the Don scored 1,318 runs at an average of 94.14. Nothing unusual there. He also took 51 wickets, averaged just 7. The Don was a good leg spinner. I assume that's what he was bowling then. Of course, he only took a couple of test wickets, 2, but apparently was quite a good leg spinner. And he was a brilliant fieldsman. Brilliant ground fieldsman, good catcher. Also on this ground, I think it was the Don scored a big double 100, 234, and against Wingello, and Bill O'Reilly as a young up-and-comer was in the side. Of course, Bill O'Reilly would become one of the great Australian Test cricketers, one of the greatest leg spinners of all time. And I think the Don took the sword to him, and Tiger O'Reilly, as he was known as, was such a fierce competitor that would have driven him. Now the story goes that the Don and Bill O'Reilly didn't get along. I'm not going to go into all that stuff. I mean, personalities clash, but just focus on the cricketers. And the Don and Bill O'Reilly were 2 of the greatest, and that's all that needs to be said. So that happened out here on the Bowral, on the Bradman Oval. See the Don coming out to bat. Bradman Oval. I'm now outside Bradman Oval on St. Jude Street. This is the front entrance. The Bradman Museum, I believe, is just over there. That's Bradman Oval there, the pavilion. Let's go and have a look. Bradman Oval, Bradman statue, Bradman Garden, Memorial Garden, sorry. This is what I want to see, this great statue of the Don. My auntie and uncle came here a decade or so ago and they got a photo of themselves with the Don, and I've always wanted to replicate that. Here he is, the great man. I love this statue. Wow, very lifelike. It's amazing. Hello, Sir Donald. Wow, what a great statue. Really is lifelike. The final salute. See if we can have a read of this. Sir Donald Bradman, AC, 1908-2001. Donald George Bradman was born on August 27, 1908. He grew up in Bowral and became the greatest cricketer of all time. In 52 test matches, Bradman scored 6,996 runs at an average of 99.94. Sir Donald died peacefully at the age of 92 on February 25, 2001. Quote, future generations will regard him not only as a very great batsman, but also as a brilliant captain and above all as one of the truest gentlemen who's ever worn flannels. Arthur Gilligan, end quote. Arthur Gilligan, England cricketer and commentator. What a beautiful statement. This statue was unveiled by former Australian cricketer and Bradman teammate Mr. Bill Brown, February 24, 2002. Mr. Ian Craig, Chairman, Miss Tanya Bartlett, sculptor, Bradman Museum. Ian Craig, former Test captain. How beautiful. As a cricket lover, Sir Donald is the epitome. Growing up here in Australia, loving cricket, the Don stood above them all. He truly did. There was no other, could never be another. For what he means, not only for Australian, but for all cricket lovers. Truly beautiful. Let's have a look at these. What do we have on the walls here, on the picket fence I should say. Bradman, Sir Donald Bradman number 1. I see some familiar names. I guess you buy one for them, I suppose. While we're here, we'll have a quick gander at the pavilion, have a closer look. Invest in a crest and automatically become a member of the Bradman Foundation. A personalised Bradman crest, including a unique holder number placed on the picket fence in the Bradman Centre precinct, is the ultimate accolade for any cricket tragic. Ask at front counter to become a crest member today. That sounds right. Gee, I'd love to have mine on there. Have a gander at that. Let's have a closer look at the pavilion. Oops, sorry. A beautiful angle from out here. It's closed for private function. That's alright. Give me a better look. Wow, what a view. How good does this look? How good does this look? Bradman Oval from the Bradman Pavilion. Truly awe-inspiring. So a quick focus in on the pitch. So here we are at Bradman Oval, Bowral, the spiritual home of Sir Donald Bradman. And then Dooley Street, Bowral, we have the Bowral Public School. Sir Donald attended this school from September 1913 to December 1922. It was established in 1863 by the Anglican Church before being taken over by the Education Council in 1867, and a high school was added in 1914. At school, the Don, his best subject was maths. He left school at 14. while the headmaster described him as a truthful, honest, industrious and unusually bright. So this was the school Sir Donald attended between 1913 and 1922 here in Bowral. We're in Corbett Gardens, Bowral on Wingy Carraby Street. Don't hold me to that. Wingy Carraby Street, I think it is, but I'm sure I got that wrong. But just a side note, while we're in Bowral, beautiful gardens, all set up for Christmas. But this was where a public reception was held for the Don post 1930 Ashes tour. In this gardens, he came back, of course, from the Ashes in 1930, a national hero after decimating England with one of the all-time great batting performances. And of course, it was that 1930 Ashes series that made him the legend that he was. If he hadn't done anything after that, he still would have been considered a great batsman, but of course he did so much more. But yeah, he was only, how old was the Don when he come back? He would have been just turned 22. So I'm sure he would have been very humbled and even a little uncomfortable with all the attention, but he would get used to it, even if he didn't ever liked it. But that was right here, Corbett Gardens in Bowral. Everything very much contained. This is just up the road, we're down the road from Bowral Public School and not far from Bradman Oval, here in Bowral. On that store that you're looking at right now, I'm at number 276 Bong Bong Street inside Bowral. Now, after he left school in December 1922, the Don got his first job here, working at a real estate office of Davis and Westbrook. At first he just looked after books, and then he eventually started driving clients around to properties, etc. He worked here until worked here, 5 years? Till September 1928, when he took up a job in Sydney. So in this humble little storefront here in Bowral, where the Don worked his first job. I'm in front of 327 Bong Bong Street, Bowral. Now, in 1930, this was the Empire Theatre. Now, that may be remnants of the old building there up top. In this general vicinity, the building stood, the Empire Theatre. Now, its significance for the Don was that on March 5th, 1930, a farewell reception was held here for the Don, for the Ashes tour that was coming up. Of course, the Don had been selected to tour England in 1930, and at that stage, I mean, the Don had already played a series against England, had scored 100, but he hadn't cemented his position, and the greatness and genius had only been barely glimpsed at. But of course, he went on that 1930 Ashes tour, absolutely destroyed England, 974 runs in 5 tests, 8 innings, average of 139, 4 centuries, including the triple hundred at Headingley, and forever the Don was born. And so that was where it happened, his farewell reception, before he embarked on a trip that would, well, bring him to his destiny, here in Bowral. I'm outside number 2 Holden Street, Kensington Park, Adelaide. This was the former home of Sir Donald Bradman. Now, how did the Don end up in Adelaide? Of course, he was born and raised in New South Wales, in Cootamundra, Yo-Yo and Bowral, then Sydney, but he ended up in Adelaide. How did that happen? Well, it came about because in 1933, a man named Harry Hodges, who was a leading Adelaide stockbroker and was also a delegate to the SACA, the South Australian Cricket Association, he was looking for players interstate to come play for South Australia, and obviously the Don was high on the priority list, and that all coincided because the Don himself was hoping for a new career move. He wanted a stable job outside of cricket to make a living, and he wanted to make a change. So now they had a meeting on December 14th 1933 at Adelaide Oval, when the Don was here playing in a Sheffield Shield match for South Australia. And sometime after that, they signed a deal where the Don would go to work for Hodges at his stockbroking office in Grenfell Street in Adelaide in the city. And of course the Don would move to Adelaide and play for South Australia. So the Don and his wife Jessie, they officially and permanently moved to Adelaide on April 25th, 1935. Now when they first moved here, they didn't live in this actual house. I believe they built the property right here and lived in another home somewhere along here on Holden Street. Just a bit of a pan around. This is Holden Street looking south, so somewhere else down here they lived temporarily until they moved in here at number 2 Holden Street in 1936. Of course Jessie would die in 1997, September 97, and Sir Donald died here in this home on Sunday, February the 25th, 2001, meaning they'd lived here for, well, the Don had lived here close to 65 years. Incredible. Most of his life right here in Adelaide. Of course, the Don passed away on that Sunday, age 92, but the news was not released until the following day, Monday, February 26, 2001. That's right here on Holden Street, which is just off the parade. It's about 100 metres from the parade to the north. But this is where the Don spent most of his life here in Adelaide. Now, not far from here, in fact, I'm here just literally just around the corner, is Kensington Oval, where Sir Donald played grade cricket when he moved here to South Australia. So we'll go there now and check out the Don's former stomping ground at Kensington Oval. Welcome to Kensington Oval in Kensington Park, Adelaide. Perfect timing too. There's a game of cricket on this Thursday afternoon. Thought I might be able to wander out to the middle, but I guess not. Nonetheless, when Sir Donald moved to Adelaide in 1935, obviously he needed, obviously he was going to play for South Australia, but he needed a district club. And so Kensington became his grade cricket club. And the Don would play here. Now obviously most of his time was devoted to playing for Australia and South Australia, but he did end up playing 37 district games for Kensington, and in that time he scored 3,377 runs at an average of 84.43, which was a bit down from his test average, which is ironic. I guess he saved himself for the real challenges. But anyway, and his highest score on this ground was, I thought that was a wicket then. His highest score on this ground, or his highest score for Kensington, was 303, which he made against Glenelg in November 1939. Now he first played on this ground on September the 28th, 1935. Here at Kensington, the beautiful old ground. He's got a bit of an edge through there. Alright, let's go have a bit of a closer look around this ground. I'm currently sitting in the grandstand here at Kensington Oval for a better view. This beautiful ground and day. As a game of cricket goes on between Pembroke and the visitors. Don't know who the visitors are. And that clock's wrong, by the way. It's almost 4 p.m. Yeah, just wanted to mention that besides this being the home of the Don in grade cricket, they also played SANFL football here between 1945 and 1963. And it was also, for a brief period, up until 1897, the home ground of the mighty Norwood Football Club, the Mighty Legs, my team. So that's another piece of trivia history here Kensington Oval. Just before we go, just in front of the pavilion is a bit of a mention. It's confirming Sir Donald Bradman captained the Kensington District Cricket Club at the Oval for the greater part of his cricketing career, 1935 to 1948. Absolutely. What have we got down here? The Basil and Rex Sellers Pavilion. Rex Sellers. He played one test for Australia. I think just the one test. In 1964, I think in the tour of India. So that's interesting. Yeah, so there we go. Nice little dedication here. At Kensington Oval, with Sir Donald's former home on Holden Street. It's just over the one street away. He's just Holden Street, just beyond those trees there, behind there. Here at Kensington Oval.